Good morning. I'm excited and proud to introduce this month's featured speaker here at our monthly meeting, Mrs. Amy Ramage. She is our new superintendent of the Livingston County School System. Mrs. Ramage has spent over 20 years serving in various capacities at the school system, including as an educator, assistant principal, and district administrator. For the last 14 years, Mrs. Ramage has served as director of pupil personnel while also providing oversight of school facilities, maintenance, and capital improvement projects, such as the recent renovation of Livingston Central High School's Career and Technical Center. I hope I've not left anything out. That's a pretty lengthy list.
That's more than you should have said.
Livingston Central High School, Mrs. Ramage and her husband Garrick reside in Livingston County and have two children, Ethan and Emerson. And maybe you all read in the paper about Emerson receiving the Johnny Bench Award for being the best catcher, softball catcher, I guess, in Kentucky. That's amazing. That's amazing. So please join me in welcoming Mrs. Amy Ramage.
Up, you might do that.
I'll talk real loud. I used to teach elementary school, so I'm pretty used to yelling and speaking loudly. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I appreciate Miss Catherine Boswell, and they are actually neighbors of ours, and so and we've had the pleasure to work with several of you in the school system, as you all have provided great resources to our students, and we very much appreciate that. I don't have some big formal presentation other than to just talk to you about what our plans are and what we want to do and how we would love to partner with our community in the work that we do. One of the things that we are really focused on is inspiring excellence and leaving a legacy. Knowing that, in 30 years, we want to leave everything better than we found it. And we want the students that come after us, after we are gone, to understand the importance and the historical significance of Livingston County. I'm a graduate, 97 graduate of Livingston Central High School. My husband's a 94 graduate. My family is from the county. I grew up on the north end of the county and then married my husband, and he transplanted me across the bridge here. And the education that I received in this county was amazing. We had our opening day at the high school, and part of the leaving a legacy was to bring back former educators who were really an inspiration to myself and to many of us who are in the education profession. And so we had Mr. Darrell Chittenden, former superintendent, and teacher, also a graduate of Livingston Central, that spoke on opening day. We had Miss Doris Cothran, the world-renowned famous educator who taught us everything that we need to know, and she's still teaching me today. She spoke. We had and she's also a graduate of Livingston Central. We had Miss Sherry Henson, who was a teacher at Grand Rivers Elementary, and then she's a graduate of Livingston Central High School as well. She also was an administrator at both the school level as a principal and also at the district level. And then we had Mr. Larry McGregor, who is he was a principal, he was a teacher, he was a coach, he drove a bus. I'm not sure there's anything in the school district that Mr. Larry McGregor hasn't done, but he came to us. He married someone from the county, and he came to us from Marshall County. And he is all things Livingston County and one of the biggest supporters, and has played a vital role in the lives of many of our students and staff that we have on staff here in the district. And then we also had Miss Meg Tolley, who is an educator. She grew up in a different county, but she spent her career here in Livingston County. And she is one of the founders of what we have still today, Open Campus, which is our dropout prevention program. And under Miss Tolley's time at Open Campus, she served over 200 kids and made sure that they had high school diplomas and they were at risk of dropping out. They were students who had that potential to drop out, and she poured her heart and soul into everything that she had just to make sure that they have a high school diploma. And so our job now is to leave that same legacy for the students that we are teaching and to just inspire that excellence in everything that we do. And one of the things that we are working on, and you'll see, and that's what I'm just going to talk about very quickly, is our Fort Starr Revitalization Project. We started that a few years ago and really worked at clearing the area. Dr. Finsky, our middle school principal, has had a pivotal role in that project. The man can cut more trees and move trees, and I'm pretty sure he has yes, yeah, absolutely, taken down more trees in that area and helped us to clear and really bring that back to how we want it to be. When I was in high school, we spent a lot of time working at Fort Smith or Fort Starr. The part that we own is Fort Starr, collectively together with the other Fort, they're considered Fort Smith. But we spent a lot of time when I was in high school researching the history of Fort Smith, writing papers about it, performing plays, doing archaeological digs, and it was some of my fondest memories of high school. And those are the things that we want to leave for our students. So our goal is to continue that revitalization project. Catherine and David Boswell have been a very integral part of that and have really worked with the middle school, with the cemetery and incorporating that into this. So right now, our focus is on Livingston County Historical Curriculum. We want all of our students, K through 12, and you'll see on the back side of that handout that you have, an idea of kind of what we're going to do at every grade level. So we're working on building that curriculum with a team of teachers and with our administrators, and really focusing on making sure that every student at every grade level has some portion of Livingston County history that they learn. So that when they leave here, they're well versed in the history of Livingston County and they can pass that down to future generations. So as you can see there, in kindergarten, our main focus is community helpers in Livingston County. And one of the things that we're doing is talking about being a champion for students and being a champion for Cardinals. And one of the phrases that we've coined, I stole it from Mr. Randy Lane, our high school principal who's sitting back there. He used it at graduation this past year. Once a Cardinal, always a Cardinal. And that really is our focus. Once you've been with us, you will always be a Cardinal to the core. And so we want our students to understand the importance of giving back to our community. We know that our community has given a lot to the school district and to the school system, and we want to start instilling that at a very, very young age. So in kindergarten, we're really focusing on being community helpers in Livingston County and how we can teach that to our youngest students. In first grade, talking about nature and visiting portions of the nature station. We have several of the wildlife reserves here in the county that we can also take students to visit. Of course, one of our main industries in the county is the rock quarry, which provides a great economic impact to our county, and there's a lot of history in that. And I saw it on your agenda too, where you're talking about the Hudson Mine project, which is just, if you read about that, I know some of you all in here, probably most of you have. My grandfather worked in the spar mines for a long time, and so he would take me as a kid on the north end of the county, and we would go look at some of we probably weren't supposed to be on the property, we were probably trespassing a little bit, but he would take me to the spar mines and tell me about that as a child. And so really focusing on the quarries and teaching our students the importance of that. And in third grade, Joy Falls Mountain Rock, taking our students there, teaching them the importance of that. And it goes on and on and on. And you can see in sixth grade, and I skipped through fourth and fifth. I'm not going to read all of those to you. But our Civil War stops, a bus tour and research, really having our kids dig in and do some research about the role that Smithland played in the Civil War and its importance strategically to the mission. Geology research. Guys, mentioned before, when I was in high school, we did a lot of archaeological digs, and Dr. Finsky has taken it upon himself and so graciously to contact the University of Kentucky. And on Wednesday, we have Dr. Brian, I'm going to butcher his last name, Martinelli or something like that. that is, he is coming to visit and see what our project entails so that they can provide us guidance, because we want to do it. We want to do it correctly. We want our teach our students the right way. We want to preserve the historical significance of that property. And so he's coming to look at our project along with the Heritage Council. They will also be here on Wednesday afternoon to look at our project and give us some guidance on how we need to proceed with that. And then, of course, in 8th grade, as I had mentioned, the cemetery tour. And Catherine could tell you more about that than I probably can. But involving our students in that cemetery research and the tour so they understand the significance of the people who gave their time and their lives to this community. And then in a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, all through high school, it's really about Fort Starr, the emphasis that it had with Fort Henry and Fort Donaldson tour, linking all of those historical lesson plans. And then the culminating activity as a senior would be for us to look at writing the Livingston County Historical book, Volume 2. And so that's some of the things that we are working on in the county, along with STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We have a teacher at the high school who's really focused on providing those STEM lessons to our kids. She's got some great ideas of how to incorporate that into our historical curriculum. And it's a work in progress. Eventually, we would like to curate the new board office to where on the walls, if anybody asks you, there's nothing hanging on the walls at the board office because I said, do not put anything on the walls. Don't hang anything yet. We want it to be a community center that really emphasizes the importance of our community and the history of our community. And so we're working to curate that, hopefully using some of the lessons that we have here. And we want to bring students to our board office to see it. I mean, I would invite all of you, if you want to have a meeting of the Historical Society sometime at our board office so you all can see that, we would love to have you. We would love to invite you and bring you out. And I'm sure you will have lots of great ideas on the things that we can add. We're currently employing a couple of students. You all don't even know this yet. We're going to hire both of them at the board office to co-op. And one of those is we're going to focus on marketing and really spend some time with her because her emphasis is in marketing. She's a senior business major with an emphasis in marketing, on how we can market and design our board office so that we are honoring our past, just like our plaque says on our wall, and inspiring our future. And that's really our goal. Is when students leave here as a senior, that they know the history of Livingston County, even if they don't stay here. If they can come back and they can teach their children about the significance of Livingston County, because it's meant so much to all of us, even if we weren't born and raised here. The significance of Livingston County and everything that it has to offer, we need to make sure that we're imparting that knowledge to our children. So that's kind of what we're focusing on this year. And of course, we do have our new Career and Technical Center that was completely remodeled. If you haven't seen that, I would encourage you to come by the high school. I'm sure Mr. Lane would love to give you a tour. We have over 90 students in our welding program. We have a carpentry program, an ag program, a health science program, which is really trying to put people into the health field. And then we have a business program, and then we also have like our culinary, our foods, child development program, in addition to our makerspace. So one thing that we are working on too, just to kind of tie that up, we don't know that we'll get it. There is a grant, a career and technical education grant that is out. They're only awarding 5 in the state of Kentucky, but it's about innovation in career and technology. And so we would like to really push an entrepreneur program to where our students at the high school are creating things to sell to the community, are creating, and that brings revenue back to their program, but it also provides them with giving back to the community as well. So, our carpentry program, they build blinds and picnic tables and some really awesome cornhole boards. And then our welding program has some really great fire pits and things that they are building. So we're working on that grant to hopefully be able to connect all of that in with our historical project, and really just making it that performance culminating event. One thing that we have planned is a Civil War reenactment. If you've lived here for a long time, you'll remember how Smithland used to spend a lot of time doing a huge Civil War reenactment. So we've planned that for the spring. We're working with a gentleman from Livingston County, and hopefully we'll be able to have that Civil War reenactment on top of the hill, utilize our fort, have it for our students on Friday, and then open it for the rest of the community on Saturday and Sunday. So those were just a few things. I could talk about Livingston County and our school district the entire day, but I know everybody has things to do. So those are some things that we're working on, and really stressing the importance of the historical curriculum in Livingston County.
I just say,
And I should say, these are the masterminds. Dr. Fensky, our middle school principal, Miss Leanne Schote, our assistant principal and director of our Career and Technical Education Center, and Mr. Randy Lane, our high school principal, are here. They really are the brain. I just speak. Last year, we had a Heritage Day for our students last year. And when we were going through all of our material that we had found, we found a group of writings that were done by students at Livingston Central High School in the 60s.
yeah, I know that book.
And so I have them in my office, and it was just very interesting because I actually found my aunt's paper in there. She got a B+ on it, so I got to have a lot of fun gigging her about that. But we had our students take some of those papers and turn those into like living histories. And so they dressed in period costumes, and they researched some more about the person that was in that paper, used some of the work that the students in the 60s had used, and then they took that first person role and really gave a living history. That's one of the things that we want to focus on. I was talking to Mr. Driscoll at the American Legion in Berna, and he was talking about how a lot of our, we're losing a lot of that history because people are passing away. And so using our marketing intern to sit down and spend an hour or 2 hours with Miss Doris Cothran, talking and recording and videotaping those conversations about things that she has seen and other people in our community, so that we have that to share with generations after us. That's one of the things that we talked about using our marketing person to do. So yes, we would absolutely love to do that, and love to partner with you all, in any way. We've got some students that are historical scholars and really got into the Heritage Day last year.
Would you even be interested in organizing a junior history, like historical society?
Definitely a possibility.
We have some members that have gone through the high school that were members, but
Mhm.
they came and worked with us at times, but right now we don't. But
Right.
we used to have several people that had grandkids, and they joined as a junior member. But it would be nice if they had one, you didn't have to call it the historical society.
Sure.
You could call it a history club or something like that, but it would
Absolutely.
be fun.
Yes.
No.
I mean, I'm sure that there's definitely something, because we have a lot of students who are very interested in history, and so really growing that love of history is what our goal is. I was telling somebody before the meeting started, my dad's a retired history teacher from Crittenden County, and as a child, I didn't appreciate the love of history like he did. He drug us, and I say drug because at that time that's what I felt like it was. I appreciate it now, but he drug us one summer. That was our family vacation, and we toured every historical site in the state of Kentucky, from western Kentucky all the way to far eastern Kentucky. It was a memorable event, but I appreciate it as an adult, and as I got older, I really appreciated being able to go to Shaker Village, into Pleasant Hill, and to Fort Harrodsburg, and to understand now the the significance and the importance of that. And we want that for our students. There, yes, ma'am.
Tell us your lineage, in Livingston County, everybody's gonna tell how they're related or who's their kin or who you come from.
Okay, so my dad, my maiden name, I was so glad, let me just say this. When I married, I was so glad to get a true Livingston County name. My maiden name was Schweitzer, obviously not a Livingston County name. My dad is from South Central Illinois. And that's where he grew up. But he met my mother. He came to school at Murray State University and then did his student teaching in Crittenden County and met my mom. She's a Croft. So complete Livingston County name. But my grandfather was J. and Velda. My grandparents were J. and Velda Croft from the Salem area. So that's my lineage there. And then my husband's family are Ramages. They actually moved from Ballard County to Livingston County, probably in the 60s, if I remember correctly. And they grew up on the north end of the county. And then my husband's mom, her family are Smiths. Bonita, actually. Bonita's mom and my husband's grandmother are actually sisters. So there were 5 of those. So I've got Smiths, Mitchells from the north side of the county. My husband's paternal grandmother was a Mitchell and grew up a Mitchell Loop. I love to take our kids and our people that we know to Patty's because one of the log cabins that is at Patty's, my husband's grandmother actually grew up in that log cabin and they moved it from Mitchell Loop on the north end of the county to Patty's. So it's pretty well my lineage.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.